People of ATP Flight School, students in particular that have finished their MEI and CFI training, or maybe if you are headed to the place that I'm about to talk about and have not finished maybe all of them, but are going anyway. I am talking about, if you haven't figured it out already, standardization, instructor standardization. What you're going to be hearing about is instructor standardization in Phoenix, basically. So, where should we start? Day one is probably a good place to... Actually, no. Right before day one. It is important to note that ATP does not pay for your transport down to Phoenix or any location that you are going to be doing standardization at. You have to get yourself down there. In my case, it was a 1,500-mile drive because I didn't want to spend 3 weeks without a car. That being said, anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks is probably about normal. We have a large class, so we're pushing the 3-week mark. Pretty close here. So, let's see. Okay, so then you get here and get here the day before at least, because unless you have friends and family, you're going to pick up a key and you're going to get an apartment that ATP is going to provide at no charge. And that's great. Phoenix closes at 5 o'clock. Flight ops leaves at 5 o'clock at least. And they're the people that are going to hand you your key. So you need to get there before 5 o'clock. Alright, so let's go back to day one. So, you come in, and John Amico's there, setting up presentation in the large classroom there. And he's got assigned seating. So, if you show up on day one, assigned seating. So look for your little name on a little piece of paper that's like the little name tag things you see at on, you know, like a cliche office kind of scene. And there's also like folders and stuff in there. The folders have the course outline essentially for the evals and the sim eval that you guys have to do as well. Anyway, so the first couple days is safety briefings, learning how to do all the stuff that your instructor did. Blocking out planes, scheduling you as a student, scheduling your students, and pay attention to those because you will be doing them at stands. You'll be blocking out your own planes, which is fantastic. At least it was for me. Let's see, what else? Please make sure that you have all the paperwork done before you get there, because if you don't, it might not be as fun for you, because you'll probably get yelled at. The most important thing is to have copies, not just the actual license, copies of your pilot certificate, a photo ID, and your current medical. Those are what you need. Pilot certificate, front and back, if applicable. Your medical and your photo ID. It's not in the same order, but you know, the same three. Anyway, so yeah, the first couple days is going through the instructor standardization program timeline there, learning all the fun stuff about what you're going to be doing as an instructor, and then it moves into some training in the sim. In Phoenix they have the full cockpit Frasca Seminole sims, so you do a multi-engine sim and then a sim eval. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Stop stressing. And then you move into the evaluations in the actual aircraft. And on days where you are not flying, you are tutoring. That is right. You are expected to be there 8 hours a day to tutor students at that location. So, come in knowing your stuff, for sure, because students will ask you some weird questions. I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. Okay. So we get 2 training flights in the single engine. In Phoenix, it's the Cessna 172. I did mine in the G1000 Skyhawk. G1000 is cool, but there's a lot of stuff you could know if you're going from a 6-pack to a G1000 that I didn't know. Even though I went from the G500 to the G1000, some of the things were similar, a lot of it was actually different. So if you're going to be going to Phoenix, look at the G1000 user guide and ForeFlight. Let's see. And so we did the 2 training flights, And then we did the eval yesterday, about just under the 2-week mark. And the eval consists of takeoffs and landings, in-flight maneuvers with the purpose statement and the PTS tolerances, and the engine out. So basically, it's like a check ride that you don't have to really pay for, unless you fail it the first time. Then you have to pay for more training, and then you have to do it again. After this, tomorrow I've got my first flight training in the Seminole. You get one, and then you do the eval, and the eval is just like your MEI, except you got to do an instrument approach. Alright, and that is all outlined in the documents that John Amico gives you in the fancy folder on day 1. So, no excuses not knowing your stuff, because it's all laid out for you. It's real simple. Let's see here. Trying to think if there's anything that I'm missing. You get paid, which is nice. $1,500 a month, and they prorate it for the weeks. So you get it's every 2 weeks you get a check. So that being said, as soon as you get your stands class date, set up direct deposit. There are a bunch of kids that were in my class that didn't set up their direct deposit until they found out about it. ATP only does direct deposit, and since they set it up late, they didn't get their money until late, and they were expecting to get paid, so that kind of put them in a crappy financial situation. So, before you go, set up direct deposit, get the information, your routing number, and all that stuff from your bank, go on to ATP, Win ATP, not Win ATP, but the intranet that you've been given the password to, and set that up, otherwise you won't get paid. Other little pet peeves, with the TSA document, don't forget to follow John Amico's instructions on renaming those documents. Maybe it's not the TSA document. I think it's actually the CATS training document, which is another fun thing that you get to do, but it's too fun for me to go into detail about. So, make sure you've got all the documents taken care of. Follow the instructions very carefully, because that's what he's looking for you to follow the instructions very carefully, because a lot of people miss them. Anyway, that's about it. Aside from my last 2 training flights in the multi and the out brief, that's all that I got for you. So if you're going to instructor standardization, have a blast with it, especially if you're going to Phoenix. Actually, I haven't found too much to do out here, but there's a cool place called the Burrito Shack, and there's also like a ghost town outside of town that's been remade that you can go to in Apache Junction. Don't remember what it's called though, so good luck finding it. I'm sure it'll be easy. I did it pretty easily, but I had help finding it. Anyway, bye.